Hello again, it's Tom. In this video, we are going to demonstrate a generic method. So in the last video, we created a generic class, but you're not limited to just classes. You can create generic methods, you can create generic interfaces, generic structures, and generic delegates as well. Okay, so a lot of different things that you can apply these same concepts to. So we're going to do a very simple generic method right here in the program class. So in your program class, if you scroll down to part 5 generic method demo, and then actually right underneath that, there's some comments here where we're actually going to write a basic generic method. So that's where we'll begin this. We'll define the method first. Okay, so it'll be, we'll make it public. It'll be static. That has nothing to do with it being generic, just because it's in the program class, it would make sense for it to be static. I want it to be void. It doesn't, again, not necessarily need to be void to be generic. I'm going to call it generic method. Generic test method, let's say. Yep, that works. Okay, and then this is where the angle brackets come into play right after the identifier. So I could have multiple, like I did with my class, multiple ones. I'm just going to do a very simple one. I'll have one type parameter. Okay, and then you may recall this from doing function templates in C++, where I'm actually going to determine what that is. Typically, it doesn't have to be this way, but typically how I determine what that is through the parameter. So I have a parameter, I'm just going to call it param, it's not very creative at all, that's of this generic type, this variable type. All right, so I will open it up and close it and decide what are we actually going to do here. All we'll do is, well, actually, I'll go here, show what the type of parameter is. Okay, so we'll do a console.writeLine. Oops. Here, I'll save you watching me type here. I'll just paste it in. There we go. Okay, so yeah, the type of argument passed to this method was, and I'm just going to use get type and convert it to a string. It doesn't really matter what the method is doing. The big thing I want to demonstrate is how to do this. Now, just like in a class, you can specify constraints as well. So I can say things like where, T is a struct, for example, a value type. I can do that kind of thing if that's what I wanted to do. I'm not going to in this case, but I want you to understand that that's available to you. So in the part 5 generic method demo, what we'll do is we'll declare a few, decidedly different things. In this case, a character called tempchar, a string called tempstring, and a grade called tempgrade. Okay, and I'm going to, in turn, just pass each item to the generic method to see that it actually works. There we go. So I'm going to pass it the tempchar, pass it the tempstring, pass it the tempgrade. So each time I do this, it actually will dynamically create a new method, one that takes characters, one that takes strings, one that takes grades. Okay, and it will run with them. So let's try that out. So it's option number 5. And we can see here it's showing me the correct type for that particular, whatever it is that I passed to it. Okay, so a simple little video. You needed a break after that long one last time, but that's an example of doing a generic method. In our next video, what we'll do is we will create a generic structure as well as a generic interface and play around with that. Thank you very much.